Ulysses and his men have been drifting on the seas since being chased by Aeolus, the keeper of the winds. Courage and hope have abandoned them. They are still subject to the anger of the god Poseidon, intent on avenging his son, Polyphemus the Cyclops, whom Ulysses blinded. While Ulysses incurs the wrath of the gods, his throne in Ithaca remains sadly empty. And yet, most of the Greek heroes have returned from the Trojan War, at least those spared by combat. Agamemnon, Menelaus, and the aged Nestor. Agamemnon has just been murdered by his wife Clytemnestra and his cousin Aegisthus during the banquet held to celebrate his homecoming. This news has put fear into all of Greece, but it is yet to reach the far-off island of Ithaca and the ears of she who, night and day, prays for the return of her husband, Penelope. For years, Penelope has received no news of Ulysses. She knows that the Trojan War lasted 10 years, but she also knows that moon after moon has come and gone since the return of the warriors, and Ulysses is still missing. For some time now, a rumor has been spreading that he's dead, that he perished on the way home when a violent storm broke up his fleet and sent it to the bottom of the sea. But Penelope lives on in hope. To the point that she is able to stand firm in the face of the band of young men who have recently invested the palace with the intent of marrying her. They're known as the suitors, young men born into noble families from Ithaca or its neighboring islands. They are the sons of Ulysses' loyal subjects. They swan around the palace courtyard, play games, dance, feast, and place bets on who will one day win the favors of Penelope. It's vital, they cry in unison, for Penelope to remarry for her own good. But their noble words disguise their ill-intentioned designs. For while each of them lusts after Penelope's bed, each dreams of possessing the kingdom of Ithaca. At just 12 years old, Telemachus has understood this. The son Ulysses left behind in Ithaca soon after his birth every day witnesses the aggressive arrogance with which the suitors roast the king's fattened pigs, skin his goats, and empty his amphorae of fine wines. He knows these men are eating into his inheritance as they wait for the day their swords will transpierce his flesh. For now, though, he is too young to resist. But in a few years' time, he will have the courage and strength to oust them from his father's palace. Every day, Penelope is harassed more and more by the suitors. They urge her to quickly decide which of them she will take as a husband. It seems that the queen cannot avoid another marriage. So, with the help of a faithful old nursemaid, one who watched Ulysses grow into a man and raised Telemachus, she thinks up a plan. To mislead the suitors, she kindles the hope of each by promising to marry him. But she demands that first she must be given the time to finish weaving a burial shroud for Ulysses' father, the old Laertes, for the day he finally descends into the kingdom of Hades. Laertes is the former king of Ithaca. Long ago, exhausted from ruling, he yielded his throne to his son. During Ulysses' absence, he unwillingly agreed to resume the reins of power. But after the Trojan War, he abandoned the throne once again. Worn out by years of anguish and fatigue, Laertes lost all interest in palace life. He now lives in a simple hut on a farm, cut off from the world. He is gradually letting himself die. Only Penelope is concerned about his fate and takes care of he who desires just one thing: to join his dead son. Penelope is renowned throughout Greece for her skill at weaving. So when she shows the patterns with highly complex motifs of scenes of the old man's life and the feats of gods and demigods, she warns the suitors that it would be impious not to wrap Laertes in a sumptuous burial shroud on the day of his death. As soon as she is finished, she will choose her future husband, but not before then. Reassured, the suitors agree to Penelope's demands and return to their banqueting. While Penelope returns to her chamber, she walks to the window and looks out into the distance. And what if Ulysses really were dead? No sooner does the thought enter her head than she shakes it off. No, Ulysses will return. As her fingers caress the shroud, her eyes light up. She has the solution in her own hands. Slowly, she begins to unweave the cloth, stitch by stitch. And thus, she spends her days weaving the ample shroud and her nights unweaving it by torchlight. Maybe Aeolus was right. Ulysses is cursed. Since being pursued by the Keeper of the Winds, who gave them the means to finally return home by enclosing all the winds of the universe, the hero of 1,000 guiles and his men have found themselves facing storm after heavy storm. The island off which they have just run aground is totally unknown to them. Ulysses observes the landscape for a long time. Before them is a dense forest, and at the top of a hill, a palace built of polished stone. Perhaps they can find supplies there. Ulysses gives his orders. They are split into two parties. Eurylochus will lead the first party to the village in search of supplies, while Ulysses will wait on the shore with the second. For the very first time, Eurylochus, the ever-reasonable Eurylochus, disagrees with his king. It is out of the question. Since leaving Troy, they have been struck time and time again by misfortune. Who knows what creature lives up there and what it might inflict on them? But Pelides, Ulysses' second captain, approves. Ulysses senses revolt smoldering. In that case, he suggests they draw lots. Eurylochus agrees. But the draw favors Ulysses. Resigned to his fate, Eurylochus gestures to Pylades to join him, and with a dozen crewmen, they disappear into the dark forest. The small party reaches the village. It's deserted. Not a sound can be heard. Pylades heads towards the palace. It's superb, clearly the residence of a noble. But suddenly, the men are surrounded by a pack of wolves. There is no escape. Their fangs bared, their muscles taut, the wolves seem ready to spring. But then, all of a sudden, something very strange happens. Instead of attacking the men, the pack greets them. Tails wagging, tongues licking, and looking to be stroked, the wolves become as docile as pet dogs. Stupefied, the men are frozen to the spot. It's Pylades who gathers his courage, turns to the door, and this time knocks. When the door opens, it reveals the most beautiful woman he has ever seen. Her brown hair descends to her waist. Her almond-shaped eyes reflect with gold. Her face is perfect. She introduces herself. Her name is Circe. Mouths agape, the men follow Circe into her palace. All except one, Eurylochus. He's hiding behind a tree. The memory of the Cyclops is still too fresh in his mind, and however beautiful this woman may be, he doesn't trust her. He watches the scene from distance. Circe has the men sit down on magnificent chairs carved from silver and gold. Then, in goblets studded with rubies and emeralds, she serves them wine which, she tells them, is the best in all of Greece. None of them have the slightest idea of what awaits them. As they empty their goblets, Circe utters some words in a language they don't understand. The result is unexpected as it is stupefying. The sailors and soldiers of Ulysses, proud warriors and veterans of Troy, are no longer men, but pigs, swine. Suddenly, they are on all fours, waggling their curly tails and sniffing the ground with their snouts. Circe bursts into laughter, orders the swine from her palace, and has them shut in a pen. Then she throws them acorns and beechnuts, just for the pleasure of watching them fight over food. From behind his tree, Eurylochus has seen everything. He finds the strength to snap himself out of his torpor and hurries back to the shore. In tears and still filled with stupor, he describes the events to Ulysses. Circe. Ulysses knows this name. Legends of Circe abound, each more terrifying than the next. It's said that even the gods fear the powers of Circe, daughter of Helios, god of the sun, and an unpitying sorceress. Circe once turned a nymph, the beautiful Scylla, into a sea monster. She saved her niece Medea, who murdered and dismembered her own brother, for which she was sentenced to death by Zeus. Only Circe had the power to purify her so that she could avoid her deadly fate. The words of Aeolus still echoed in Ulysses' mind. Cursed. Ulysses shakes off the fear that Circe instills in him. He asks Eurylochus to lead him to her, but meets with a blank refusal. No way is he going back to that witch's palace. Eurylochus begs Ulysses to flee with him, to sail away from this cursed island. But the king of Ithaca is determined. His bewitched men need him. Athena has done everything to protect Ulysses since he left Troy. But Zeus has expressly forbidden her from direct intervention, and he is watching her closely. So she decides to ask Hermes to fly as fast as he can to Ulysses' rescue. Hermes is the last born of the gods of Olympus. His father Zeus has charged him with being a kind of messenger between the gods and men. He also watches over travelers, over all those who have taken to the roads of this vast world. And this is why Athena turns to him. Maybe also because the goddess knows that Hermes loves to play tricks, to tease men and gods, to sow confusion. She knows that Hermes holds foolery and deception in high esteem. Perhaps he will enjoy doing what she asks of him, to help a man almost as skilled in trickery as he is. But Hermes is no fool and realizes that Athena is entrusting him with this mission in the hope that the gods will never get wind of the story. But he wonders. He knows that Olympus is divided, ready to implode should the quarrels between the divinities persist. Why should he help Ulysses? Why should he help Athena when it's well known she dreams only of opposing Poseidon? Athena reassures Hermes. The stakes far outweigh the quarrels between the goddess of reason and the god of the seas. Zeus, master of Olympus, has pronounced that Ulysses' life must be spared. He may suffer misfortunes of all kinds, but must not die. And if Ulysses goes alone to Circe's palace, he has no chance of coming out of there alive. Ulysses reaches a spot that gives him his first view of Circe's palace. Suddenly, a young man appears before him. Undoubtedly a shepherd or a goat herder. In a soft voice, he puts Ulysses on his guard. He knows Circe well. She is fearsome, but there is a way of beating her. Without ado, he unhooks a pouch from his belt and hands it to Ulysses. It contains a herb with a black root and a white flower. Ulysses has only to eat it and it will protect him. When Circe offers him a drink, he should accept without fear. Thanks to this herb, the witch's potion will have no effect on him. And when she takes her wand to curse him, he should take out his sword and approach her, as if he were intent on killing her. At first, she will be terrified, but then subjugated, and she will bend to his every wish. Then he should have her swear on all the gods not to kill him and to free his men. Ulysses listens attentively. Whether or not this young shepherd is telling the truth, he has nothing to lose. Circe is there in all her majesty. She invites Ulysses to sit on one of the chairs. A fascinated Ulysses accepts. She serves him her evil brew. Ulysses hesitates. For the briefest of instants, he wonders if what the shepherd said was true. Then he raises the goblet and drains every last drop. Circe raises her wand ready to strike. But she is frozen to the spot with surprise. Ulysses is still standing, sword drawn, threatening to run her through. Circe stares at him as if she were seeing a creature from another world. Never has a mere mortal resisted one of her potions. As she observes him, she begins to recognize his traits. It's Ulysses, the king of Ithaca, the hero of the Trojan War. While there are all number of legends about Circe, great tales tell of the feats of Ulysses. She knew he would show up here one day. The gods had forewarned her long ago. Shaken, Circe prostrates herself before Ulysses. She swears she will not harm him. She will fulfill his every wish, as long as he promises one night with her. Just one night. Ulysses consents, but on two conditions. One, that Circe swears on the gods not to take his life, and two, to return his unfortunate men to their true appearance and to free them. Circe swears. She opens the gates of the pen where Pelides and his men are enclosed and sprinkles them with a magic powder. They immediately find themselves human again. Circe begs their forgiveness and invites them to stay in her palace as long as they wish. She will serve them the finest of dishes, the sweetest of wines, and her maids will bow to their every desire. Ulysses orders Pelides to hurry back to the fleet and to return with Eurylochus and the rest of the men. Having endured so many travails while buffeted across hostile seas, here is a land finally offering hospitality. The whole crew must be reunited. One night, just one promised Ulysses. Unless his mind should forget for a while that he needs to get back home.